everyone, Thomas here and welcome back to another video. So today we're back here for another speed build, and today we're going to go ahead and build this tiny home with the Sims 4 Nifty Knitting Stuff Pack, which is coming out tomorrow on July the 28th. And EA did send me an early access copy of the game to go ahead and make this video today, so thank you to the Game Changer Network for that. So like I said, we're building a tiny home with Nifty Knitting. If you want to go ahead and download this for yourself, it will be up on the gallery tomorrow when the pack actually comes out, like I said, the 28th. So you'll have to go back to the gallery then, because I don't really think there's much point of putting it up on the gallery now when you can't actually download it properly. So that'll be up tomorrow, and I'll also come back here and leave a link in the description to the online gallery if you want to go ahead and download the build that way. So, a little bit of information about this build, and I'm actually really love how this one turned out. I don't do tiny homes that often, but I do really love how this one came together. So I was going to make this just a base game plus Nifty Knitting Stuff Pack build, but I thought, you know, since we're doing a tiny home, I'd go ahead and use Tiny Living as well. So the only packs that I use today is the new Nifty Knitting Stuff Pack as well as Tiny Living, and then of course base game. So there's only 2 packs used today, which I think is a good thing, because I know sometimes I can go a little bit crazy with packs in my build, so this is a nice change. And it has 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom, and I built it on a 20 by 15 lot in Willow Creek, and it came in at 42,705 simoleons, which I don't think is that bad at all, really. I suppose for a small home it is a little bit expensive, but you know, I don't really keep, you know, sort of track that much with the price on builds unless I'm actually doing a budget home. But I thought that I would maybe keep in mind a little bit on the price so it doesn't go too crazy for such a small home. So one thing I did is actually use quite a lot of Debug landscaping items, because the landscaping items in the game are very, very expensive actually. So I did go ahead and use a lot of the Debug ones. I don't use the Debug plants that often because they kind of have a different texture to normal landscaping items, so it can be more difficult to use them both together. And also, since it's a debug item, if you don't know, you can't actually use like the eyedropper tool on them and things like that, so it makes it a little bit frustrating when you have like a big area to fill, and you have to keep going back into the catalogue. So that's also another reason why I don't use it too much, but you know, I thought today I'll go ahead and do it for a change. There was actually a little bit of space at the back of the lot, so I did go ahead and kind of do another staircase on the back of this porch here and make like a little backyard area. So in there I put a few garden items as well as an outdoor table and barbecue. I went ahead and put garden items in. You know, this is a Nifty Knitting build, so I wasn't really going to focus on other things, but I thought, you know, your Sims may want other interests as well other than knitting, so I did go ahead and do that. And then for the type of sim that I kind of imagine to live here, I know one thing that I really loved about this pack in terms of the trailer and things is that they didn't kind of make it, you know, like an old woman or anything like that doing knitting like what you would normally think. You know, it's made it more normalised, I suppose, with other ages, which I really loved. So I was going to kind of do that, but I did end up making this more of like a, you know, older person's tiny home. It's very cozy inside and very cottage-like actually. And then inside, like I said, it's got 1 bedroom and 1 bathroom. And then for the other space, I did keep it fairly open plan. I didn't want to kind of close off the kitchen or anything like that. I wanted to keep things open since it is such a small space, so I did go ahead and do that. And then I also went ahead and put all the knitting equipment and things like that in the main living space too, which I thought would, I kind of went back and forth between that idea actually, because I didn't know if it would look a little bit odd having like, you know, a nice fireplace and sitting area and then all of this knitting equipment in the same space. So, you know, it did look a little bit odd, but the only reason I kept it was because I only imagined one sim to live here, so I didn't really think it had to be like, you know, nice formal living room and then kind of what I would do in a family home is do that, and then, you know, each of the rooms have their own thing going on. But I thought since it's just one kind of open space, one tiny home, 1 bedroom for 1 sim, I thought it'd be all okay to kind of have it all in one space, so that's what I did. And then as you can see, we do have the porchway here. I did have to go and use the rocking chairs, and I thought that would be a really nice sort of addition to a porchway, so I did go ahead and do that. They do take up a little bit of space actually, so I did want to put one in the inside too, but I couldn't really fit that in very well, so I didn't end up doing that unfortunately. But you know, there is one out there, and of course if you want to rearrange things here and there, if you download this home, then you know, you can do that, that's totally fine. So since this is the first build that I'm doing with this pack, I do normally give my kind of overall thoughts so far of it within this first video, so it's kind of easy to find. So this is like the only thing that I've done so far with the build, so I don't really think I have like, you know, too many opinions on what I think so far, because this build only took me about 40 minutes, and before then I didn't, you know, play the pack before that, so that's kind of really the only time I've had it. When I did actually install the pack the other day, I did go ahead and kind of lay all the items out on a lot, just to kind of have a look through and see what I thought. And I do really like the items, and we did actually get a lot of debug or hidden objects as well within the menus, so that was really great. It kind of bumped up the pack a little bit and gave it some more things to use, like the hanging plants as well, which I really loved, and I did use those quite a few times throughout this build as well, so that was one of the things I really liked. And then kind of the whole sort of pack style in terms of the build mode items, the style of those, I did actually like them. You know, they all work really well together, but when I was kind of, you know, I don't know if you saw at the beginning, I may have cut it out, but I did go ahead and use the new front door from the pack, and I was kind of looking through the colour swatches of that, and I realised that this pack sort of has its own colour scheme going on with the items, like, you know how Cats and Dogs has its own sort of wood tones, the same with Jungle Adventure as well, and sometimes it can be difficult to pair the items together. Now, you know, this is only 40 minutes I've had with the pack so far, so, you know, and I've only used Tiny Living as well, so I can't really, I suppose, back up that thought too much, because I haven't really played around with it in terms of other packs too. So, you know, I think that may be an issue, possibly. I'll have to, like I said, play around with other packs and see how they really kind of work together. But on the other hand, maybe having Nifty Knitting as sort of like a separate colour swatches and things like that, which don't necessarily match with the other packs, isn't such a bad idea or problem after all, because it's not like, you know, Nifty Knitting is going to fit in really well with all other themes going on within the game. It's kind of its own new separate thing. You know, I don't really think I'm going to use this pack too much in my other builds in the future, which is fine. It's just not really my particular playstyle, and also it is a very separate sort of thing as well. It's not generally something I would, you know, think to put a knitting room in every family home I do from now on. But I think overall it is a really nice idea. The items that we got from it are really nice. You know, lots of nice details as well, especially the plants, and even like on these items here, you can see lots of kind of decoration added to them, and the front door as well, the plants on the front door. So lots of, you know, nice thought put into all the items, and you know, I did actually find, you know, well, I suppose as you can see here, the colours don't really work that well, but I hadn't actually changed the colour swatches at that point. But you know, with the white here, it works really well with the sort of colour swatches we've got with Tiny Living, so wasn't such a problem for this build. But I'm thinking maybe in future builds it may not be as easy to pair those items together with other packs. So I'm sure I'll be using this pack, you know, at least a couple more times in other builds in the future, so stay tuned for that as I give you more opinions on the pack as I play it, because, you know, I can't really give you any solid opinions so far on 40 minutes of gameplay really. So if you wanted to know would you buy this pack or not, I think it depends on what type of player you are. So I think for a builder it's kind of mixed. In a way it's good because it's like another room you can add into your build, something to fill up more space with, but on the other hand, you know, it's more of like a gameplay style thing when I think of this pack, in terms of it, you know, your Sims actually doing something in live mode, not build mode. So on that side of things, I would probably maybe stay away from it if you're kind of wanting to pick one thing to get. Maybe Nifty Knitting isn't that. And, you know, like I'm saying, it's kind of a separate thing that doesn't really work well with a lot of other packs. So, you know, like Seasons and Cats and Dogs, they work really well with a lot of different things. This is a very separate idea. So, you know, if there is other packs you have in mind to get first, then maybe look at those and then this one after. But, you know, if you are a game player, definitely a really great thing. As I was saying at the beginning, you know, it's definitely not something just for elders, but it, you know, there is a lot of sort of talk within the community about how elders are sort of neglected in terms of activities and things like that within gameplay. So I think if you have those type of Sims and you play with them, then this is going to be a really great pack for something else for them to do, as well as all ages actually. And yeah, so that's kind of all the opinions I have so far, and like I said, I'll keep you up to date on any new things I think of in future videos. So now we're just working on the master bedroom, but there's only one of them, so just the bedroom. And I actually really love how this one turned out as well, and with the build in general really, I did use a lot more clutter than I normally do. As you know, I do really like builds being nice and clean and minimalistic, but with this type of build, you know, being more of like a cottage style, which I would sometimes add more decoration into, but a lot of the items as well within this pack are really detailed, so I thought using a little bit more clutter in today's build would be a good idea. There's actually like a shelf above one of the knitting stations, which I just left blank actually, because I had put a lot of clutter around. I thought I'd leave that shelf blank so you can put your own things in it. But apart from that, you know, I did I think I filled up the place nicely with decoration. So we're just doing a few finishing touches here in this backyard area before we head onto the screenshots. I really hope you enjoyed. In the comment section down below, let me know about what you thought of it. If you want to go ahead and download this from the gallery, it will be up there tomorrow. My origin ID is RealThomasTV1, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.